Hello, my name is Graciano Solodio, and today going to be talking about the high cost of medical attention and the high cost of medicine on my persuasive speech. Have you ever wondered why your friend, or roommate, or even a family member, instead of going to the hospital or a nearby clinic, they go to a drugstore and get cheap medicine instead of getting professional medical attention? Well, I'll give you the reasons why. Medicine is vital for a person while being ill, and it's much more important when they need medical assistance. The problem for getting medical assistance and medicine is the high prices, especially for low-income families. The topics for the problem today that I will be discussing will be the reason of the high prices of medicine in the United States, and the difference between the prices in the UK or United Kingdom. And the solution for this problem would be that to amplify into the United States the same program that the UK has to avoid the prices to rise compared to other nations. The high price in the high price in the United States to get medical attention are a real problem for low income families. According to the article titled "Why Are Prescription Costs So High in the United States?" published on Health Units, written by Javera Saib Din, on January 24, 2020, mentioned drug prices are higher in the United States compared to other countries because unlike the other world, the US healthcare system allows drug manufacturers to have control over their own price. Also mentioned in the similar article, the other reason for high cost is that under current laws, these companies have total and can extend their control over the market for many years, able to increase dramatically the prices on the products. So under these laws and control, the manufacturers or companies for these drugs in the United States have absolute control, and there's not very a limit that like lawyers or people could do to avoid it. My solution or possible solution is that the United States should amplify a method that manages medicine and medication, such as the UK has done, specifically in England. On this article, the author was Alan Quinn, published an article "Why Drugs Cost Less in the UK Than the United States" on Bloomberg Businessweek on September 3rd, 2017. The taxpayers-funded National Healthcare System or Service, which provides free health for more to 64 million people, is the main buyer of pharmaceutical products in the UK, meaning its purchasing power to negotiate with drug companies to lower prices. In the same article I mentioned as right now, it mentions that NICE, capital NICE, National Institute for Healthcare Care Excellence, determines the drug is too expensive. Its maker can try this to separate deal with the UK Department of Health through special arrangements known as patient access schemes, including on the same article, and mentions that the UK Department of Health negotiates with drug makers over a 5-year voluntary agreement called the Pharmaceutical Price Regulation Scheme, or PPRS, to regulate the cost of brand name medicines. As mentioned, people in the UK, if a low income family doesn't have the exact money to pay for the price, they can negotiate with the pharmaceutical company for a plan to extend through a period of time to be able to reach the amount of medicine, and it makes it much easier for everyone because the companies are still going to be paying the amount they want, but the low income families have an extended amount of time to reach the amount they go to pay. And a counter argument to this would be that if anyone asks to receive your medication at a low price, most of the people will immediately say yes. But we gotta see the other side of the topic, cause for the low income families it could be a win, but for the pharmaceutical companies it could be a defeat and have a greater consequence of the action. According to and Quinn published on the article "Why Drugs Cost Less in the UK Than in the US" on Bloomberg Businessweek on September 3rd, 2017, mentioned pharmaceutical companies say that low prices leave with less money for research and development, stifling their ability to invest in expensive, high-risk projects for new medicines. Meaning, if there's illness that has to be dealt with, there, there's going to be greater, or there's going to be less opportunities to have the money needed to develop that new kind of cure. Meaning there's a minor possibility of finding it compared to when there's a high price, there's more money invested into that project. In the article named "The Untitled Side Effect of Lower Drug Prices," published on Time written by Sanjay Sanhoy on March 4th, 2015, mentions first a drug that cures a type of cancer might cost billions of dollars to develop, whereas a drug that cures a minor affliction could be cheaper to create. Complex medicines that create most serious diseases naturally require more clinical trials, longer testing periods, great expense and opportunity costs. The returns that the investors put in money is not compared as the one they receive. As mentioned before, if a person if that company inputs a lot of money into pharmaceutical companies or drug makers, there's a higher possibility of making a cure, such as mentioned for cancer, that costs a lot of money to invest into that program. For my conclusion, after looking at this information, it's clear that everything is not cheap. Can Everything that's cheap cannot become as a positive feedback for everyone. Low-income families have a hard time to get medicine, but while using this payment method, as the UK has put in their own system, it helps a lot on the families, enormously help the families. If the United States will implement this program, and I believe the United States has a much capable possibility of doing this, it will be much more helpful. The downside for using this method would be that drug companies wouldn't have enough wouldn't have enough money or medicine that could limit the amount invested in the money for newer medicine to find a cure such for cancer. Some of the reasons why this has occurred is because the invested money that has risen. So we could be doing this of lowering the cost of medicine, but then the prices for receiving that medicine would be much higher. Such in the article by in the article "Why Prescription Costs So High in the U.S." on health published on Health Units, it said national prescription drug rose 2% in 2004 to 29% in 2014. That's a significant about 1 in 4, about 24% of people can't afford to pay their medication as a result of these actions. And finally, there could be a solution to, as the UK mentioned, to the appeal of their own medicine if they're willing to approve a payment method option for low income families.